it's Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity in Chula Vista with your grand reveal. This project was 6 days. The client had her gardener do most of the demolition, and we came into basically a blank slate. This area is of particular interest because it's a shared space. Half of this property is Cindy's and half is the neighbors, and they agreed to go in together to allow us to do the entire thing. Now you can see it is very simple. I have installed very, very tough, drought tolerant, low growing, low profile plants in this area. I jazzed this up by taking what was a very, very flat expanse of land and raising it considerably, staging large boulders that look as though they have been excavated, then putting in just a few key plants, and I jazzed up this gold top dressing rock with some swaths of burgundy 3/4 inch to give it a designer look. I even added, this is a really good cheat, I added a pot in here because there's a lot of dead space in this area right here. So I staged a pot and I ran just a little bit of black 3/4 inch lava at its base. Remember, that's very, very important from a design perspective to anchor your pots or your garden art with some sort of rock. Kind of like inside in the house, if you have a bouquet of flowers on the table, you're going to put them up on a stand or a doily or a trivet or something to kind of anchor it visually. I did the same thing here. This corner had a ginormous plant in it. It overtook the house. We got it out of here, and I planted a mangave in a beautiful turquoise pot. Simple, simple, simple. And then I just top dressed with the burgundy lava, and I did a little bit of that black 3/4 inch to anchor it. So this is now a really, really beautiful, finished little corner of the garden. I ran a few flagstones organically to the hose bib over here. But the rest of the garden is just the top dressing rock, and to bring in what I did over at the neighbor shared space, I brought in the burgundy 3/4. I brought in some honey quartz rubble. And then in front of the rubble is 3/4 inch black lava. It's just a little added something, something. And then as a delineation between these neighbors, I just ran rubble as an edge. And people have asked me, well, isn't the grass going to run through it and it's not going to be hard to take care of? It's not. I did the same thing in my yard at home to separate my property from the neighbors, and it's really not a big deal. It's not a problem. So this is a really organic way and a very inexpensive way to delineate your property. You'll notice also in the back, I've staged another pot, and then I ran that little ribbon of lava rock to anchor it at the base. Everybody's got a trash can area, and here's a simple solution. Clear everything out of your trash can area, cap all your sprinklers, put down some weed barrier fabric, and stage some loose flagstones, as we've done here, as a pad for the trash cans. Then this area is a storage or garden of death. These are Cindy's leftover pots that I am going to rework at a later date when the temperatures cool down. Remember, this is August. I'm also bringing in some designer pots for her to stage all around the pool and some other key areas in the garden. And these plants will be some of the specimens that I'll use. So this area here, we kept it very, very simple. I wanted it visually to be a real wow if and when people came through the back gate, so they could have a clear perspective all the way to the back fence. We've got that Dracaena Draco back against the fence and the low Crassula undulata that'll create a nice little round hedge, some aloe blue elf, specimen agave here. This is Harita with more blue elf around the rock. Somebody also asked me about planting succulents close to the house, if that was you know, termite candy, and you know, probably, maybe. I didn't plant a lot close to the house, as Greg will show you. I do have the Petalanthus bracteus right here, but I was sensitive not to plant anything close to the house. If the client needs to be termited at any point, this is going to be a really easy plant to dig out and move. It's just not a big deal. If that's a concern that you have, remember that succulents are really, really easy to manipulate. This was all grass, and you know, big ugly shrubs. Now it is a beautiful succulent and cactus specimen garden. On this side of the property, the client has 2 raised wooden vegetable beds. She bought these marvelous screens to camouflage the pool equipment. And no, they don't hide it completely, but it's such a great smoke and mirror tactic and really super effective. Since this is primarily a specimen garden and I didn't do tapestry work here, and no worries, I will be back when the weather cools to do a lot of really fun soft stuff in great big pots around the pool and the other areas of the hardscape, we wanted to be sure and do a lot of ribbons to visually tie the design together. My design assistant Amy said it best yesterday. She said the ribbons are like the bow on the package. They just finish the look and tie it together so beautifully. This was a really fun raised bed with the proximity to the pool, but no one's, we're not in danger of anybody running into it because it's elevated and so high from the water's edge. But we've got our Joseph's coat, our variegated opuntia, and our Euphorbia antisyphilitica that I love working with, this succulent spurge. And these are just going to grow and take over this fence line so beautifully. And then behind me, we carry that cactus theme through with the blue spire, some little millii, Euphorbia millii, and then that gorgeous Dracaena Draco down at the very end. And our finished flagstone patio Greg just applied the Glaze and Seal Wet Look 2000 to this to keep it really wet and shiny. I wish you could see the staged furniture that the client purchased, but it won't be arriving until tomorrow. So I guess you'll have to wait and see that when I come back to do maintenance, which won't be for a very long time. I'm thinking maybe a couple of years before we need to do anything in this garden. You know, we're on subterranean drip, which is going to cut water usage by a good 90% in this yard. The maintenance is going to consist of deadheading and the occasional weed pulling. We did not install weed fabric except in areas where we did not plant, like the trash can area and over where the raised beds are. We just haven't been really impressed with that product. Find that weeds still come through, and of course it changes the chemistry in the soil. It heats it up, destroys the microbes and a lot of the life underneath. So my program, See a Weed, Pull a Weed, has been very, very effective. This has been Laura Eubanks of Design for Serenity reporting on behalf of myself and Team DFS and your grand reveal in Chula Vista and your succulent tip of the day.